Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Formula Podcast. I'm Gary Louima of First Step Legal.
This is RJD from Content Factory.
And we have a highly anticipated guest on the show. I've been fighting to get him on the show for so long, and I'm so happy to introduce Mr. Philip Wells.
Yo, what's up? What's up? I'm glad to be here, man. It's a pleasure, man. I've been waiting to do this. And before the show, I even told you guys, man, you may have to shut me up because I have so much stuff I want to give to you guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So definitely appreciate you having on the show, taking your time out your day to join us and speak to our community of entrepreneurs who are trying to demystify the game and figure out their formula. So starting off, who are you?
Yeah. Thank you, man. Yeah, I got you.
Here?
Yeah. So my name is Coach Wells. My full name is Philip Wells, and I'm a therapist. I'm also a performance coach. And typically what I do is I help entrepreneurs and working professionals increase their performance, not only professionally, but personally, by giving them the confidence that they need to execute on their goals. It's that simple. And there's a unique framework that I use, a framework that not a lot of even therapists use to help you to do that. And I'm gonna share some of those gems today. But more about me, man. Originally, I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, grew up there, born and raised, moved to South Florida kind of on a whim. I wanted to be a high school counselor, which I did, and I found out that I didn't love it. You know, and that's the story of a lot of entrepreneurs. You know, they have a job or they've invested in a degree that costs a lot of money. And then a few years later, they find out that this isn't what they want to do. And that's the path that I was on. And I decided I wanted to be a therapist and really get into the nooks and crannies of helping people. And that's what I do today. And it's probably by far the most rewarding thing that I've done up until this point. It's very fulfilling.
That's good stuff.
Awesome.
Good stuff.
I want to get into like your story before becoming an entrepreneur, right? So you started your business in 2019?
Yeah, 2019. So before that, man, like I was saying, I was a high school counselor. I worked in Broward County Public Schools, and 6 months into the job, I was like, yo, this can't be it. And one thing that stood out to me was one day I was eating breakfast just like I normally do, and I bit down really hard and ended up cracking my tooth. And because of that, I had to get a root canal. And when I went into the dentist, they were like, Mr. Wells, you're going to need a root canal and a crown. I was like, all right, cool. How much is that? And they ended up saying, it's going to be $1,200. And I was sitting there panicking because I didn't have enough money. But then I was like, yo, wait, like I just spent $60,000 at Clemson to get this degree. Now that I have this degree, I can't afford my medical bills. Like, this can't be it. So from there, it took me on this journey of finding out like what else is there for me. And going back to school just wasn't the option. So I was like, all right, how can I take what I do now, privatize it, right? Make it my own thing to where I can help people. And that threw me into this world of entrepreneurship. And I've had people in my journey that has helped guided me, even other therapists who have told me about, you know, the power of providing therapy and quite honestly, like how much you can make. And that kind of put me on this journey of just really like self-discovery, but also becoming a therapist and wanted to do that. So as you had mentioned, in 2019, I took that plunge and I actually started to work under someone. And that's something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they skip. They think, all right, I just got to do it on my own from day one. And that's probably like the biggest mistake people make. Like being able to contract with someone, work under someone that's already doing what you want to do, it gives you a lightning speed path to being able to become that entrepreneur that you want to be. So I did that for 2 years, and then 2021, at the height of the pandemic, I said, you know what, this is it. Like I'm gonna quit my job and go full time. And then that's when, you know, I really like hit the gears and really started things going. And there was even some ups and downs through that as well, you know. And if you don't mind, I'll share that a little bit. So right when I quit my job, I was like, all right, sweet. You know, I'm doing this entrepreneur thing that everybody talks about. And one of the things that I ran into was not having enough leads. So as an entrepreneur, like it's great that you have your website. It's great that you have the skill set, right? And a lot of people don't talk about that. Like you can be the best at what you do, but if you don't know how to market yourself and no one knows you, you're not going to make good business and your business will fail. So I had to learn that piece real quick because there were months where I was losing $3,000, $4,000 a month. So all the things that I've saved, all my money was depleting. And then I went to a conference and I learned about this thing called copywriting. And that took my business over the edge. As a matter of fact, it blew me up so much I had to refer other people to my business, and I had to raise my prices. I doubled my prices, and it's really been a blessing so far.
Shout out to the train passing. You know what I mean? Broward County, we here in Fort Lauderdale. But you said some amazing things right there, right? And that's what I'm really, really big on is leads, like building a business. Like I'm a photographer. Right now we specialize in video marketing, helping businesses grow with video, right? And that's the number one thing is like, yeah, they want a video because everybody else have videos, right?
Exactly.
But it's like, how is this video going to help you bring in more clients, bring in more leads, bring in more potential sales opportunities? So you touched on another thing, which is copywriting. That's another thing that we're very big on. It's like putting the creative and that copy together to make that happen, right? Mm-hmm. So when it comes to copywriting, can you tell me, was it a course, and like what was some of the things that you was doing as far as copywriting and getting people to like pay attention to what you're doing?
Gotcha. So I'm gonna give you guys an absolute hack right now, and I need you guys to write this down. So what I would do is whenever someone called me for a consultation, I would take out a notepad and pen, and I would literally write down every word that these clients were saying. And what I would then turn around and do is, one, use these words back to them word for word to describe what they was going through. But then also I took those same words and I put them on my website. So that when this ideal customer clicked on my website, they felt like I was talking to them. So when Jonathan reaches out to me because he's dealing with business anxiety, Jonathan doesn't know that I've already met him 1,000 times already. Mm-hmm. He's only met me once, but I've met him 1,000 times. So I know him better than he knows himself. And when I can communicate that, that's when he feels like he's heard and understood, and then he instantly becomes a client. If you do that, you will master the whole marketing and the copywriting game. But a lot of people, they have to be willing to dive that deep and not be so selfish in their thinking like, how do I look? Does my website look nice? Am I stuttering? Like, it's not about you, it's about them.
Sounds, I mean, I ain't no therapist. Something like that's validation.
Oh, yeah, man. Very validating, man. Very validating. Yeah, I'll leave it at that, because I want you guys to ask me so many questions, man. But that was big, and if you don't mind, I'll even say this about the photography piece, man. Like, I had someone take my picture with me holding a basketball in a suit, and no lie, like that one picture has generated hundreds of thousands of dollars for me over the course of like a few years. And the reason why is because they had a hook. But people, when they go in and take these photos, they don't know about hooks and all that stuff. They don't know how to be different. Even like the thumbnail on a YouTube video, it needs to have a hook. And if you don't have that, people are not even going to click on your stuff. But you have to know, like, a picture has that much value. A video that you may do has that much value. And that's where, because I had a client who was a photographer, and I had to tell them, hey, you're just working with the wrong people. And that's a whole another topic I can get into. But, you know, like I said, I'm going to try to pull myself back, because I can go really deep into this stuff.
We love the convo, man. But I mean, you are a therapist, and what sparked you to get into the mental health space?
Yeah. You know, honestly, man, I struggled with my own like self-doubt, my own lack of confidence. And really where it came from was in middle school. I used to play basketball in high school as well. And I remember one game I was starting, and I got in the game, and you know, it comes down to the fourth quarter and the stands were packed. And our point guard dribbles up the floor with maybe like 10 seconds left, and he takes a shot and he misses. And reminds you, like, we're only down like maybe like a point or so. So he takes a shot, he misses. I catch the ball right into the goal, and I airball a layup. Actually, it was the game-winning layup, and I airballed it. And that absolutely crushed me. And what that ended up doing to my confidence was that I always had this fear of taking chances, taking shots, and things like that. So I used to always play it safe. And I think that's how I got into the career that I got into. But from there, as I mentioned, I struggled with confidence. And it wasn't until I ran into these mentors, these people that really like spoke life into me, that I really felt like, hey, I can actually do things that maybe I didn't believe I could do at the beginning. And from there, I realized like, hey, there's something here. There's something very powerful here that I can do for other people. And that put me on the path to being a therapist, because I've had someone help me, and now I want to go out and help other people as well.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's beautiful.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But even, so with that, I mean, that's your story. That's how you started off with things. What type of clientele do you normally work with?
Yeah. And this is a beautiful question, because at one point I would work with anybody. Like, if you had money to pay me,
There it is.
I would see you. But that didn't lead to fulfillment and happiness. I was very stressed. So I changed my copy, changed my marketing. And now the clients that I see are typically entrepreneurs, working professionals that typically make 6, 7, and I even have a few clients that make 8 figures. And like, these guys come to me because they have the talent, but they don't have the psychology piece. So when it comes to being an entrepreneur, believe it or not, it's 20% talent and then it's 80% psychology. This is why you see people like Ben Simmons or these guys who are the #1 draft picks in the NBA, NFL, Jamarcus Russell, no shade to him. Like, guys like him, they have the talent, but when the psychology isn't there, they crumble. And I help them with the psychology piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big. Because really it's all mental. And having a coach, right? Someone that you could kind of like talk to see from the outside and give you pointers on like what you're doing wrong, how you can improve, areas of improvement, because you also said that you're a performance coach as well. And I grew up an athlete, and I'm very big on performance I kind of take that in all aspects of my life, because performance is like, it's just important to me, because that's being an athlete, that's what it's all about. It's like, what is your output, you know? And your output is really determined on your input, you know? And that's in terms of like, and that's one thing, but also having that team of advisors around you. You know, a lot of times you can look at your group that you're around and the people that you have as advisors, that's usually why they're performing so well. So when you see those Kobe Bryants and you see those LeBron James, it's a high percentage chance that they have some kind of like coach, right?
Yep.
That's helping them, right?
Exactly. And like, that is so important. And here's another very important thing that I need people to understand. When you pay for a coach, you're paying for speed. You're paying for speed, and so one hack that people don't understand is that when you pay for a coach, you're paying for speed and accuracy, because sometimes people may have the accuracy, but they're moving at a snail's pace, right? Or some people may have the speed, but they're just going in the wrong direction. So when you can find someone that's been to the mountaintop and also have taken other people to the mountaintop, you need to quickly, not slowly, you need to quickly pay them so you can get to the mountaintop and now become the #1 like person in your niche, if you will. But a lot of people, they're afraid to do that. You know, I had one client who I was working with, and I asked him a simple question. I said, how much was your last vacation? Like, how much money did you actually spend? And we sat there, we calculated, we thought about it. And it's like, man, it's probably like $2,000 to $3,000. I was like, all right, cool. What I need you to do next time is to take that same $2,000 to $3,000 and invest in a coach. I need you to do that, because that money will then supplement so many future vacations that it won't feel as much as a burden or like a big drain on you, if you will. But that piece right there, believe it or not, it comes from self-love. It comes from having confidence, but really like that self-love is like, I deserve to spend this much money on myself and my business because I believe in it. But a lot of people, they hit that wall and they think that, I can just figure it out. I can find it in a book. There's some things that you just can't find in a book. Yep.
Nah, 100%, man. That's big, man. That's really big when it comes to, like, I like how you said that, speed and accuracy. Like, I really like that breakdown. That made it really, really clear, because even like how you were saying, it's like you have a coach for your mental, you have your coach for your on the field or on the basketball court, right? You have your coach for business, your lawyer, your business lawyer. You know what I mean? You have a coach for your finance advisor.
Yep.
Right? You got your coach for marketing. You might need some videos.
Yeah.
You got your coach for video that's going to, make sure you look good on camera. You know what I mean? So like, in all of those fields, it's all speed and accuracy. That's what they're improving in your career and what you're doing on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So just you dropping that gem, even me sitting here talking to you, I'm like, wow, I'm gonna have to use that one in my next call. Like literally.
Facts.
Next email, I'm speed and accuracy.
Yep. Because a lot of people think that you're just paying me for this hour, And it's like, no, like you're not just paying me for this hour, you're paying for me what this hour could produce for you in years to come. You know what I mean? Because again, it's like the way I think in systems where it's like, all right, what's that one thing I can create that would pay me just time and time again, right? That's why I love long form content like this, right? Versus like Instagram and TikTok, even though it's there, things like this is long lasting. So you have to be willing to invest in it. And it's the idea that this would then produce other streams of income, other clients, and then that would then get you to a place where, and this is another topic, like now you can choose your clients, you can raise your prices, and now you're not working as much. And that goes into like time management and all that stuff as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Hey, you talk a little bit about your experience in choosing clients and saying no. Have you ever said no to a client? Like, nah, we're not a good fit. What was that feeling like, and how did you get to that point? What was the?
Yeah. So at first, like I didn't even know what clients I was right for. So I would kind of just take almost anyone that would see me, right? That's how it started. And then I started to feel a little stressed, overwhelmed, started to not even like being a therapist to a degree. Now I've gotten to the point where it's not enough that you reached out to me. It's more so like, are you willing to put in the work? So I'll give another persuasion tactic that I use. So anybody that's in sales, you can take this and you can use it, and it will help increase your conversions. One thing that I tell the clients when I'm at the end of my script is I ask them a question. I say, is this something that you're dedicated to? And most often they say yes. And then I ask them again and I clarify, like, is this something that you're willing to start on day one? Is this something that you're willing to put before anything? Because my time is very valuable, and I don't like to waste my time at all. And what that does to the brain is it goes back to very simple things. We all want what we can't have. And when I put my time in a scarcity vehicle, if you will, people are more likely to jump on it because they see that it's not as freely accessible. You know, when you think about things like YouTube, like people could easily go on YouTube and learn how to do marketing, but people aren't doing it. Why? Because it's free. But when I have a limited amount of spots for this class, this course, or spots to see me, right, and there's a price tag to it and people pay it, they're now locked in. They're now willing to do it. So it really, you really got to put a scarcity mindset like in them, and then they will feel like, all right, I have to take this opportunity now. That's why even saying like, hey, I need you to complete these documents within 48 hours. If you don't do it then the deal is off. I won't see you. But one of the best things that I've done is just simply said, hey, this isn't the right fit. And that saved me so much time and energy and all this other stuff, because one thing you don't want to do is be chasing a client, right? Like working with a bad client that is, you know, not showing up. That's a little like that alligator arms it when it comes to paying and all this other stuff, or that's going to negotiate you on your fees, because there's so many other people that's willing to pay for your stuff. So it's very freeing, man. And it takes time to get there. It does. But once you test those boundaries, you see that, hey, people are not only willing to pay, but they're willing to show up too.
Big facts. Can you describe to us like that learning curve? Because like we go to school, we go to professional schools, or we go to trade school, or we pick up a skill and we get good at a particular craft, right? But then to start a business is a whole nother, you know, school, like trial by fire, you know, learn on the job type of thing. Can you describe that learning curve of like having that passion to give mental health services to a particular demographic, and then running it as a business, like learning the two things? How was that for you?
Yeah, man, that was a very scary and fun thing that I went through. So it's kind of like a roller coaster, to be honest. And this is where your values really have to be in alignment. So there's a formula for motivation, and it's three things that you need. So it's energy, it's values times energy times small, simple steps, right? So let's just stick to the values piece. Because I've had someone reach out and give me help, give me advice, right? Change my life around. This is something that even if I wasn't getting paid for it, like I would still be doing this. I may be doing this in the terms of being like a doctor or lawyer, photographer. I could be a salesman. I could be a real estate agent. Whatever it was, like I would definitely be geared towards helping people. So you have to have your values in check. And money is great, yes, but there has to be something a little bit bigger than money. 100%. So that really pushed me. And then the learning curve, see, this is where you have to have a growth mindset. You have to have curiosity. One thing that I love about people like Kobe was that he left no stone unturned. Like he maximized his potential. When it comes to entrepreneurship, I see it as a sport, and I'm every day just curious, like how much better can I get? And something that I think a lot of entrepreneurs, maybe even beginning entrepreneurs, don't do is they don't study the numbers. Like I can guarantee, like I'm really getting into it right now. So I can guarantee that if 100 people clicked on this Facebook ad, 30 of them will buy the thing that I give them, right? But that comes from, one, having a coach to walk you through it, but two, being able to study the numbers and see what's working and what's not working. So it really becomes a game. So like, you may see me on my Facebook ads, but to me, it feels like I'm playing Madden. And I'm playing Madden on like all Madden. Like it's like the hardest level.
Got to get those KPIs, performance indicators, know your numbers, know what's going on. The more data that you have in your business, the more moves, the more options that you can make, because you know what's going on. You can replicate that, get those numbers in.
And it sounds like you've done some testing as well to be able to measure it. So you have first you start off with no form of measurement. You put it out there, you test it, you put it back out there again, you test it again, make some improvements, put it back out there, test it again, make those improvements. Like, just like how you said, I could guarantee within, if 100 people watch this, 30 people is going to click that link. Same thing how I feel about podcasting. Same thing I feel about having conversations like this. Like, this is the same thing what I encourage all of my clients to do. So what do? Start a podcast.
Live it.
Hey, Gary.
Yeah.
Let's start a podcast.
Boy, he
You're a
won't,
business lawyer,
playing,
I'm a marketing guy. We make a good strategic partnership.
Yeah.
Right? I enjoy being around Gary regardless. You know what I mean? So that's number one. I like him. He's a very inspirational. He's very sharp. He know what he's doing. Yeah. Right? That alone, that's a good iron sharpened iron relationship. So it's a good strategic partnership. Yeah. And then second is like, this actually works. How do I know it works? I've gotten clients from this same podcast that I've been on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, and I know that it works because I know within, let's say, 2 months, by staying consistent, putting out content, speaking directly to your audience, right? You're guaranteed to get a client.
Oh yeah.
Man, dude, you said a lot of gems right there, man. Like, especially that C word, consistency. So like I have this masterclass that I put together, the 7 secrets on how to build confidence. And one of them is that the only place confidence comes before consistency is in the dictionary. Like that's the only place. So like when you're consistently doing the right things, eventually the confidence will come. But here's the thing, man, like, and I tell so many of my clients this. So everybody that's listening, everybody that's watching, like, please hear this. You don't even have to be talented. You just have to be consistently doing the right thing. If you do that, you will outpace so many of the talented people out there. And that's true in any industry that you look in. So what you're saying is 100% facts, man. But a lot of people just aren't willing to do it. That's why if you are the one to do it, you will outpace everyone, and you will be at the top of the mountain when it's all said and done.
Nah, that's real. That's real, man. Gary, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, man. I mean, entrepreneurs, we're different. You know what I'm saying? And it's funny about entrepreneurship. A lot of times we have these different origin stories. I don't like my job, or I had a vision, or God gave me a vision, or I seen this, or even in my case, I come from an entrepreneurial family, so I seen that life and I want to replicate it to a new level. But there's a statistic out there: 85% of Americans hate their job, but 85% of Americans are not entrepreneurs. You know what I'm saying? Like, people really don't like what they're doing, but they keep doing it. So my question to you is, as somebody who advises entrepreneurs from a psychological standpoint, from a mental health standpoint, what is wrong with entrepreneurs? Why are we choosing this life? Why can't we just go work for I can't do it, but why can't we just go work for somebody? Like, what's the difference have you seen between the employee and the entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Psychologically, what's drawing us to this path?
Oh man,
great question, man.
Yeah. No, that's great. I got the perfect answer.
Let's get it.
So first off, to add to that piece, because I was literally just doing an email today. So there's a stat that says 72% of all entrepreneurs, and this is from Forbes, 72% of all entrepreneurs deal with some form of mental health concern, right? 72%. So when people say, man, you have to be crazy to quit your job, they're not lying. Like, they're telling the truth. Like, you have to have a little bit of crazy.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I've seen that really separates people from like the doers and the dabblers, the people that are willing to go after their dreams and become an entrepreneur, and those that stay. And it's the difference between pain and suffering. Okay. Those two things are different. So pain is something that we all go through. The pain of loss, the pain of rejection, the pain of sickness, right? The pain of failure. All these things are things that we will all indelibly or undoubtedly will go through. But the thing about suffering that's different from pain is that suffering is something that's optional. Suffering is something that's long lasting, and suffering is something that is more intense. When people avoid pain, they thrust themselves into suffering. So let's think about it like this. If someone avoids the pain of getting up at 5 a.m. and going to the gym, if someone says, yo, that's crazy, like I'm not going, they're going to deal with the suffering of having their foot cut off because they now have diabetes, right? Like, I would rather get up and go to the gym instead of having my foot cut off. But people don't see it like that. And the suffering piece is offered to you instantly. Like, you get the pros, the benefits of staying in bed, picking up that next cheeseburger, going to work the next day and getting that check. Like, there's so many pros to that you get instantly. That's hard to see the cons that come at the end. So the thing that separates the entrepreneurs and the people that stay at the 9 to 5 is that entrepreneurs are deciding to actually embrace the pain of, like I said, going months where you're not making any money, right? You don't know where that next check is coming in. When people say yes to that, they get all the things that they want in life. And it's like going into a club. Like, there's a price of admission that some people aren't willing to pay. Once you pay that price, you will make it into this club, into this place that you want to be. But if you don't want to be in there, you can stay outside and, you know, do whatever. So it's just avoidance, man. That's the big thing.
That's real. That's real. And I can relate to that heavily. And when I was studying for the bar, they told me there's a certain amount of hours you need to put in to pass. The more you delay putting them hours in, the more you're just not going to pass. Like, there's certain things you have to put in. So it sounds like with entrepreneurship, we just have this willingness to put in a certain amount of pain in order to get it in. So you're saying it's like a certain pain threshold?
Yeah.
That we have?
Oh, yeah. It's a certain pain threshold, man. This is why the value piece is just so important. So I'll give a metaphor, man. And again, this is like all the things I would tell someone in therapy. So, like, if you're listening, just imagine that, like, this is what a therapy session could look like. And I say that because I want to encourage people to go. So what I want people right now to do is I want people to Google monkey trap. Just Google that. I know it sounds weird, but Google monkey trap and click images. And what you're going to see is you're going to see an image of a monkey with his hand in a coconut. And there's a story behind that. So what happens is that there's poachers in Africa that goes into the jungles. And what they'll do is they'll take these little blades and they'll cut these little holes in these coconuts. And then they'll place these banana chips inside of them. And what they do is they tie the coconut up in the tree and leave it there overnight. Now, overnight, the monkeys will come. They'll see this coconut and see, wow, like, look at all these banana chips in here. And what they do, they'll put their hand in, grab the banana chips, and they'll try to leave. But when they try to leave, they find out that they're stuck because now that hand that went in is now in the form of a fist. And something that all of us know, including you watching this, one thing that we all know is that if that monkey does not let go, that poacher is going to come the next morning and take his life. But the monkey doesn't understand the value of letting go. And that's the biggest thing. You have to understand the value of letting go, because once that monkey lets go of the thing that he wants right now, he's going to get something more valuable back, which is his life. So what I'm trying to say is, if you let go of that job, if you let go of that steady check, if you let go of those fears, right, and embrace it, I'm not saying you have to get rid of it, embrace it, you would then have everything that you want in life. And I've seen this with so many entrepreneurs, man. I mean, I have one guy that started off with me. He was a personal coach, a personal fitness coach. He had 4 clients starting out, and now we 4X that to where he has 16 clients, all paying his higher fees, and now he's looking to quit his job. But he's been working for me for a minute, right? And you have to be willing to invest in a coach. So that's, man, I'm telling you, like, there's so much out there, and it's possible, man. I just need people to know that it's possible.
I like that, man, because especially when you talk about entrepreneurship, the mindset of an entrepreneur and what it takes. Because I work with a lot of entrepreneurs as well. a lot of people that's in the creative space though. And working with a lot of entrepreneurs, and me being an entrepreneur myself, I've noticed certain things that's like regular for me, like the pain threshold that you talked about. I would say in the sense of like, let's say looking at a bodybuilder, they see this guy with all these muscles and people want to go in and do the same thing, but they're doing not just 3 sets of 10s, they're over there doing 5 to 6, 7 sets of like 15 a set, 20 a set. They higher repping, they lifting heavier weights, they're eating at a different level. So they almost eating, forcing themselves to eat. So their pain threshold, not only in the gym, but also when they eat, it's different. And that's what I've noticed with me, like in the gym of like entrepreneurship, I'm willing to walk up to somebody and ask them, hey, how are you marketing yourself? I'm willing to put myself out there. What I've noticed with a lot of like people, at least in entrepreneurs in the creative space, like we'll say, hey, we want to work with, let's say we like cars. We want to work with car brands. But every time we go out, we're hanging out with what we're most comfortable with. So we might be hanging out with other creatives, which is cool. You can hang out with other creators because you like talking about photography, like talking about video, but in order for you to grow your business, now you got to find out where these automotive companies or where these people that own these rim companies and people that's in these sport clubs, you got to find out where they hang out. And you got to go where they hang out. And you got to build those relationships. And like kind of back to like what you were saying about listening to your client and writing down their words. Now when you go to these places, you got to memorize the type of language that they use when they talk about these cars, when they talk about achieving their goals, when they talk about the pain they're going through, right? Mm-hmm. And then that information becomes your website. That information becomes your sales script. That information, you start building relationships and you start speaking their language. And it automatically, you're going to get results from that. But like, that's just me being, I don't know. I just think like that just automatically, right? Because I'm a go-getter. This is just how I am. And as entrepreneurs trying to help other entrepreneurs do that and see it in that kind of way, sometimes it could be frustrating, but it is very, it's very exciting when somebody actually does it and and they get results from it. I've worked with a client where he came from like having 1 retainer client to like now he has like 6. And I'm like, bro,
yeah.
I'm like, yo, this is why I do this for, you know what I mean? So it's just amazing to kind of like see that. And can you just kind of like talk to your experience as far as like helping someone, okay, they're willing to leave that job, right?
Yeah.
But now they have to do the work that it entails to actually reap the results or reap the fruit of their labor.
Yeah. Nah, definitely. So right now we're in South Florida. We're here in Fort Lauderdale, and if I were to go out on this street, literally like on the street right in front of us, and ask 100 people, "Do you want to be a millionaire?" 100% of them would say yes. But once I showed them the steps that they would have to take to then become a millionaire, not even one of them, it's more like 0.001 of them. So not even a person would actually become a millionaire. Yeah. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say there's a difference between what you want and what you're willing to do to get what you want. Every self-help book, everything you read, right? Self-help, even the Bible, right? Faith without works is dead. It's all going to come back to this one principle, and it's doing the things that are uncomfortable. So when you find these entrepreneurs, what we really have to do is there's a couple things. One, you have to find out like why is it that you want to do what you do, like or even asking the opposite, like what happens to the people that you serve? What happens when you don't go out and serve them? So for me, if I don't go out there and market myself, if I don't show up and become a therapist, if I stayed at my regular job, like there are cats out here that would kill themselves, right? Like that's how severe it is. Like, yeah, if you don't do what you do, like cats are, getting locked up. They're getting taken advantage of like with their business. Man, RJ, with what you do, like again, like I literally had a photographer take my picture and I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. I kind of just said, oh, it'd be cool if I had a basketball. I had a photographer take my picture and that blew up my business. So many people say, oh, I saw you holding a basketball. That's why I clicked your photo instead of like all these other people. But see, like some clients, they just don't understand that. And that's leading into the second point where, and you probably noticed, like you have to be able to have these stories that you can tell people that will move them. Because when you know how to master the art of storytelling, people would then be likely to take the action that you want them to take. So if you've noticed, like throughout this podcast, I've probably told several stories, and I have so many other stories. But when you can tell someone a story that shows that there was someone just like you, had the same thoughts, same feelings, same situation, or even worse, right? Worse thoughts, worse situation, and you're able to show them how they went through this transformation or took your service and then became like, this entrepreneur had this business, people would then be more likely to take that action, take that step of what you are offering. So what I would recommend for people listening is go into a Word document. I just did this, and I paid a lot of money to be part of this mastermind. Like what they had us do was to write down about 20 stories that we could tell people based on what topic or emotion we want them to feel. So like there's a section about who I used to be, right? There's 5 stories about that. There's 5 stories about aha moments. There's 5 stories about my failures and my struggles. There's 5 stories about my successes. There's 5 stories about misconceptions I had about being a therapist or misconceptions I had about confidence. So now when I'm on a sales call or I'm trying to convince someone to buy my stuff, I can easily pull from this story, tell it to them in a way that would get them to take an action. But who's going to sit down and do all that, right? The 1%ers, right? So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you literally do everything that I'm saying, you will find yourself a part of the 1%. That's it. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
Yep.
Take them notes.
Yeah.
That's something you said.
I take that challenge, man. I'll take that challenge.
All right.
Yeah. I'm taking it too.
I'm taking that challenge, man.
Well, I was gonna say, it's something that you said too, as far as storytelling, telling your own story. It's so important. It's vital because nobody else has that. Nobody has Philip Wells' story. Nobody has RJD's story. Nobody got Gary Lehman's story, so on and so forth. And nobody can replicate that. And if they try to replicate it, they can't replicate it for too long. You know what I'm saying? So that's be yourself. You know what I'm saying? Be unique. And I love that you said that.
Yeah. I'll try to make this one quick because I love the questions you guys are asking. So when people come to me in therapy and they're struggling to do their Facebook content, Instagram content, struggling with being on camera like this, one thing that they don't understand is that if they were to share their pain with their audience would actually feel more connected to them than if they shared all their successes, right? Because it makes you more human. Like I could tell you guys a story almost like 2 years ago to this day. Again, I was losing $3,000 a month, like struggling. And I was struggling so bad that when I went to buy my wife's wedding ring, I had to pay for it with a business credit card just because I had a few more months with interest-free period, right? Yeah. Like it was that bad. And then I spent, while things were bad, I spent that $1,000, went to a conference, learned about copywriting, implemented it, and everything changed. And things changed so much that literally about 2 weeks ago, I just bought my wife and my son a house. Like that's the power of copywriting, man. That's the power of marketing, right? And even when I'm telling you guys, like that's the power of like sharing your stories, sharing your pain, because it lets people know that if they're in that season of their life right now, there's hope. And as long as people feel like there's hope, they will go out and take action.
I'm with it. I like it.
Yeah.
Nah, that's major, man.
Congratulations.
Having hope is big, you know?
Yeah.
Cause like, man, I could connect to that because it's like especially like, I mean, I'm gonna just speak from my experience, like coming from Jamaica, right? Coming from immigrant families, you know what I mean? They are, you know what I mean? Just coming from certain neighborhoods and having to survive. You know what I mean? Learning skills to survive, whether it's cracking jokes or learning how to run.
Yeah.
You know, just learn the skills to survive, you know? A lot of times we be in that dark space where it's like you're always not thinking about the hope. You're just thinking about survival. But what you just said about showing them that not only, okay, your dark journey of like, you know, when you wasn't able to pay your bills, but also showing how, hey, look at on the other side where I'm able to now, you know, purchase my first home for my family. that's major. That's a dream. That's something that every at least for me, that I dream of. You know, you're like, that's another thing that I've been very keen on, is who I hang out with. Like Gary, he's about to get married. You know what I mean? You're a man that's married. You know, you have a kid. I could learn from you. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm probably older than both of you guys, but I don't look at it like that. You have more experience than me. You have a wife. I don't. You know what I mean? You have a kid. You know what I mean? Those are experiences that I could learn from, 100%. and you're going about it in a way that inspires other people, right? That alone is like very, very, like, that story, and just hearing that story is just like, yo, that's what's up, you know? That's what's up. You know what I mean? And anybody that's hearing that is going to be like, okay, I could do this too. And what that does? Give them hope.
Yep. Nah, most deaf, man, most deaf. And like, this is not even a sales pitch or anything like that, but like, if someone's listening is in that stage of their life, I'll tell them to subscribe to this podcast. And then also click the link in the bio, because I have something for you guys. If you subscribe to my newsletter, like, I will literally give you tips like this to change not only your personal life, but your professional life around. But again, like, you got to be willing to take that action. So like, subscribe to this podcast, man. Like, there's some dope gems, like, not just from this podcast, but even previous podcasts and future podcasts that you guys are going to put out. So that's just my challenge to everybody. Like, you got to be action oriented in this business.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, got to be proactive as well. Can't wait for things to happen. Got to make things happen.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
And put yourself around a room of people that's doing it, you know, because it makes it a lot easier when we're around other entrepreneurs that's going for it, right? So you're going for it, Gary going for it, even Renan, Raul, everybody that I have around me are big inspirations to me, because they're going after it, you know. Like, even I say, like, the other day, I was talking to a couple of entrepreneurs, and a lot of us are guys, you know, and I was like, hey, bro, like, what you think about doing, like, just a Bible study call, like, you know, once a week, just to check in, you know, read the scripture. I've never done a Bible study session before. I never, you know what I mean? I've been to Bible study, but not like in a smaller group of just like-minded, like, entrepreneurs, men, you feel what I'm saying? Like, that could, you know, read the Bible and just, like, break it down and just have conversations about it. It just having a circle of people that's like-minded, you know what I mean? Or not only like-minded, but what you aspire to be, you know what I mean? It may not be in every aspect of my life, but it's certain areas where it's like, okay, this guy is very great at articulating his thoughts. How can I get him some coffee? You know, how can I invite him to lunch? You know what I mean? Because his time is valuable, you know? So how can I then contribute to him, give him some kind of value back, you know, for his time, you know? You know, I don't want to just be around him without giving some type of value of his time, you know? And sometimes you might have to take a little step back, go to the drawing board and figure out, okay, this person has a skill set that I want to be able to acquire. What kind of value can I give to him? How can I contribute to his life? You know, is it carrying his bags? Is it like, you know, whatever it is, you got to be clever. You got to do whatever you got to do to be able to contribute to that person, or contribute to your circle, or contribute to the people that's around you. So that way you could nurture that relationship, you know what I mean? So I feel like it's super, super important. Just me, like, looking at you guys and just seeing, like, the group that we have around us. It's like, I feel like that's super important as well, to add to, like, what you were saying.
Yeah, man. Like, it's well said what you said. Like, I can't even add to it. Like, it's exactly what you say. Like, you got to put yourself around the right people. You know, if you look up and the guys that you're hanging out aren't doing what you want to be doing, then. And here's the thing, I think that's, like, I think prevalent in the Black community, and I can only speak for the Black community, is probably prevalent in other communities. Like, sometimes we feel like a traitor when we, like, upgrade and we leave the hood, or we leave our friends behind, or whatever the case may be. And I've seen that keep a lot of, like, brothers especially, like, held back. You know, they feel as though, like, they're not loyal. You know what I mean? If they were to, like, upgrade, leave, and all this other stuff. But that's why I said, man, you got to have, like, these values, man. You have to have something that's driving you more than, like that pain or the thing that's inside the coconut, you know, because you know that changes every so often what you're holding on to.
And that's facts. That's facts, man. Like again, you said like letting go. We come from these different circumstances, and we think that success looks one way, and then we also think that the path of success is one very narrow way. I think we do hold on to. We're very rigid in that sense as well. And I think you correct me if I'm wrong. I think that just comes from not knowing. We're not around a lot of stuff, so we think what we see on TV is that pathway to success, or what we see in our community is that pathway to success. When there's a million different routes, and you gotta be flexible and adjust and move, and you know, have that confidence that what I got is invaluable, and nobody could be me. And whatever route that life is taking me, I'm gonna run through it.
Yeah,
you're okay.
Yeah,
you know, that's tough. Seat
So-
control, it's tough.
Yeah, for real. Like letting go and be like, all right, I'm gonna jump on this call with Phil and do these sessions, because I know, like, for me, I've always felt like, okay, yeah, I definitely need to get what you call therapy, right? That's what you call it, right? Therapy. So get therapy, talk to a therapist, right? You know, because, you know, we got life. Life is real out here, man. I ain't gonna lie to you, life is real. You know what I mean? You losing family members and just getting your head wrapped around like, oh, that's my grandma. Like, yo, I used to, like, that's my baby. Like, now she ain't. Just the fact that it takes a time to, like, even wrap my head around that whole fact, or even just past traumas with growing up, you know, with brothers or family members, or even, like, going to jail or something like that, you know? Like, those are things that you need to be able to talk with somebody with.
Yeah.
But I said all that to say that I developed a system to work myself through all that, you know what I mean? And maybe it's just a way of being like trying to push off getting therapy or something like that. Of course, you have to have your own coping mechanisms to be able to like survive and be able to like perform well every day. But what would you say to someone, right, that knows they need therapy, right? But they feel like they're strong, or they may have their own, you know, like even like me, they may have their own coping mechanism. They already know how to develop, how to, you know, weather the storm and kind of deal with coping. And it's like, what is me talking to somebody about my problems going to help me? Like,
yeah,
I need to talk to God, or like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go say my prayers. I'm gonna go listen to some Kirk Franklin, lift my spirit up. I'm gonna do some 2-steps. I'm gonna do a couple push-ups, and I'm going at it, you know. But like, what would you say to somebody like that? Like,
yeah. I'll go a little biblical here, and then I give, you know, some other information. So there's somewhere in the scripture that says something along the lines of, if you hang around wise people, you'll be wise. If you hang around fools, you will be fools. It's something along those lines. And you know, even the idea of seeking wise counsel, like all that stuff goes to the idea of finding people that could help, like, elevate you in some form or fashion. So like that's point number one. The second, I mean, man, I've gone to school for this. Like if people saw the work that I put in, like they would be amazed. Like, and that's not even like trying to like you know, speak highly of myself. Like I put a lot of work into my craft, and that's really where the confidence comes from, talking about the consistency piece. So like when someone comes into my office, into my presence, again, like I've seen this person 1,000 times, and I know what works. So I can further guarantee that if they follow this path, they will have the things that they're looking for. Now, something else that I would say is that, like, by seeing someone else, like you have like another objective pair of eyes that can look and see like what's going on. Even myself, like I have a coach. I have 2 coaches that I see. Even though all the stuff I'm talking to you guys about, like I have my own coaches that I invest in, and it's because they know things that I just don't. Or really, it may just come down to the accountability piece, like having someone to check in with, to ask, did you do this thing? And even that goes to a psychological principle of cognitive dissonance. You know, we feel really bad about ourselves when we don't keep our word, right? We want to make sure our realities match up with the things that we think. So I would tell someone that's listening, one, what do you have to lose, right? And then also, 2, like, what do you have to gain? Like, what would happen if you don't go to therapy, right? Like, has this path, has this thing that you've been doing helped you? Like, a lot of times people have been living the same movie day in and day out. It's like watching another episode of Martin. Like, I know what Tommy's going to do, Cole and all those guys. Like, we've seen it. Are you willing to see a different movie, a different show, if you will, right? And then like taking it to like a business tip, because this literally happened yesterday. Yesterday, I met with one of my clients who I've been meeting with weekly, and I gave him something to do last week. He came back and said that he implemented it, and he took his business from where he's making $500 a day to now he's making $1,000 a day, right? Now we just want to increase the consistency of that output, but that's something that he learned in therapy, you know what I mean? And it's like, all right, like if I keep going, will I get more money? Will I get more peace, more happiness? And if you're working with me, the answer would be yes, right? Like shameless plug, I guess. But yeah, it's just seeing what you would gain from it, and just knowing like, hey, like, sometimes we're not the best. We're not in the best position to solve our own problems. I think Einstein, maybe you guys have to quote me, he said, you can't solve the same problems from the state that it was created in. It was something like that. It was something along those lines, and that's how we should look at mental health as well.
Okay. Yeah. And that's tough. In our communities, it's not something that's spoken about. The conversation has grown a lot in the past 5 to 10 years. But that was really good to encourage people to go and get right. And in that encouragement, how do I get to the players coach? What I got to do? Where I find you at? Where is your Instagram handle, your location?
Yeah.
How I get at you?
Yeah, definitely. So you can just type in the players coach and my website will come up, theplayerscoach.net to be specific. You can also on Instagram find me on the Players Coach LLC. I also have a new membership that I'm creating where you will get this information in a membership style, and that's going to be called the Mental Performance Club. Okay, so just type in www.mentalperformanceclub.com and you can join my newsletter on there. And I'll, like I said, for free, man, I'm giving you gems that will change your life in under 3 minutes. So those are the best ways, man.
Sounds great.
That's
man.
powerful. I see you got this copywriting thing down, because you did a lot with those 3 words. So mental, everything starts here. Everything starts with a vision. Performance, entrepreneurs, sports athletes. We're big on performance, so that's gonna speak out to you, right?
Yeah.
And then the last thing, club, right? Everybody want to be a part of something.
Yeah.
Right? Nobody want to just go into things alone. Everybody want to be a part of something, whether it's a football team, a basketball team, or a group of entrepreneurs. So now it's like, I'm a part of a community, right? So like, just like how you put those 3 words together, that's powerful, bro.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man. So shout out to you, man. So y'all make sure y'all follow this Players Coach on all platforms, Facebook, Instagram, theplayerscoach.net. Just sitting here talking with him. I'm gonna do my 20 stories on those 5 different talking points of how I want people to feel. And also I'm gonna subscribe as well. And put all the tags in the YouTube. You guys follow it and stay in touch, man, for sure. 100%.
Serious.
Yeah, man. Anything you want to leave the people with before we end the podcast?
Yeah. So I'll say this. So a lot of people come to me about confidence, and I think the biggest mistake people have when trying to build their confidence is they start off with a very faulty definition of what confidence is. People think that confidence is not having any doubt, not having any anxieties or anything like that, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Confidence is just simply your level of willingness to follow your values, and you can do that feeling afraid. The goal is just not letting that fear make all the decisions for you, because confidence is not a feeling, but it's an action.
That's real. That's real,
man.
So yeah, thank you guys for listening to The Formula, where the constant is you.
Hey.
Yes, sir. Peace.